Down, two mid laners, the top laner taken off the board. Gangplank not going to see the light of day this time around. PvP Steo is going to have to mix up what he wants to bring to the table.
Yeah, and remember the #1 priority champion that we may actually start to see in this champion select. We mentioned it in the last, but even more so now as we have a sample size, is Rakan. Both Edward and Rich played it. Naturally with Rakan comes Xayah, and we saw a lot of it on the red side, particularly from Ascension. So something that you may want to see taken away with a pick or a ban here is that champion, or one of the duo, you should say.
Now the question is, do Ascension take half the duo away? Is it the Xayah? Is it the Rakan? Both supports the surprise standout. We heard him talk about on the desk how Edward, Rich, both two guys that have been so clutch for their teams. Bot lane focus, maybe not what we expected from either of these lineups, but it's been what we've been getting so far. The picks I want to keep my eye on, Rusty, Trundle and Rakan. Two very big picks in both of these guys' games so far.
Trundle's the other super big one with Kha'Zix removed as well. No surprises that you will see the Rakan locked in first here. It's the opposite side that you will now look towards. Xayah very rarely picked as a countermeasure when you've got Morgana, Caitlyn potentially still available as well. That may be the place that you start to look towards. Rocky was a very good Gnar also, so they can actually late pick him on red side.
Kai'Sa and Caitlyn, this is the first game that they've both been available. The question is, which one do Ascension Gaming want to take? They've got their pick of the litter. And it is going to be the Caitlyn locked in for them. A bit more mobility, a bit more options to get away from that Rakan with the 90 caliber net.
And of course, having the Morgana to counter the Rakan as far as engage is concerned is always a possibility. You don't need to pick it now, but you do have to pick it earlier on into the draft phase. Now, you mentioned the Kai'Sa. It's a very big decision to actually choose to go for that when there is the Xayah available, when there is the duo available. But you are right, it is a Kai'Sa.
And it's just, do you want to pick that into the 525 range versus the Caitlyn does not feel
bad
good.
matchup. Super bad matchup. It's not a matchup that you ever want to take, but you should still acknowledge that at the end of the day, you are still Kai'Sa. So you are still powerful if you get out of it.
Hey, and they're definitely acknowledging that you're still Kai'Sa, you're still powerful, you can still scale up. It's like Lodic will be trying his hands like that on that, unless there's something particularly spicy for Diamond Prox in the jungle, but I can almost guarantee that Trundle will absolutely smash that matchup, so probably not the risk he's going to take.
This is one of those moments where you may not want something like the Olaf because you have the Kai'Sa. Crowd control is usually the name of the game. Now, you could see a Sejuani. I still have a preference for Sejuani over the Zac, but I can understand what they're going towards if they look at this. Trundle Pillar stops Zac from going forwards. That is something that you have to remember, and if you're feeling real frisky here, Ascension, Janna is the other choice, because now you've blind picked potentially into a composition the Zac.
And this is also a fantastic pick, this Morgana. This is difficult, Rusty. We were talking with Zyrene backstage. We were talking about Zac, maybe some potential options, and like the #1 option that was just going to destroy Zac that's a strong champion right now is the Trundle. They get it. They can interrupt the engage. They have arguably the superior tank. Zac's not going to have any tanky stats here, but Diamond takes it anyway. I think a big surprise. Now, as we enter the second ban, top lane, mid lane, the focus. Kira not going to get the comfort picks in the mid lane. Similarly, Rocky not going to get his hands on that Camille. Definitely a champion that you should be scared of in the hands of Rocky.
And of course, if you watch any international events that Kira has been at, he plays Anivia, so you can understand where that ban goes away. Even in the finals, having it focused away from him at moments as well. Between the mid and the jungle of Gambit, that's where most of the bans actually are directed towards. You don't really see anything taken away from PvP Steos, and he's known more for his tanky champions. The composition they've got right now, very good with those tanks, and I know it's not often seen, but I feel like the Maokai is not a bad option here.
And interesting, we see the Vladimir taken away, Ascension Gaming not wanting to give that one over. And we can see what a big team fighting threat it would be, and with so much engage on the side of Gambit, don't want to risk giving them such a powerful pick. LeBlanc actually going to be the follow-up from the side of Gambit. Not a pick we've really seen so far. It looks like G4 will once again pick up the Swain. The flex potential is still there, however, but it was a pick that he found some pretty good success at a few moments in the game.
Yeah, that's true. Being on the red side, they can, of course, last pick towards their top laner in Rocky if they would like this time, but they can also bring G4 into the Swain and just counter pick to whatever is revealed now from Gambit Esports. So when you look towards the remaining picks here from Gambit, they've got engage. They have a lot of engage. They don't have range damage. Their scaling is decent. One thing that they are missing, like we mentioned, potential of a Maokai. Ornn does the exact same thing. It's ranged, follow-up, complementary types of engage. It's not committal like the other two are.
It's really nice to have that Ornn. One of the things that makes him such a strong tank is, you're right, he's one of the only tanks with really reliable non-committal engage. Everyone else has to get into the face of the opposition, Zac included. And Kira now going to try his hands at the Azir. Saw how effective it was against Ascension in the previous game, and Got to imagine G4 already getting some flashbacks. Maybe worried about what Kira can bring to the table on this champion.
And that one is actually curious to me. Ryze tends to be the mid laner of choice when you've got the Kaiser compositions. Of course, Ryze is banned away, but it's something that has crowd control, tends to be it. You mentioned how good Azir was last game, how great its scaling was, and how effective it actually was into G4 in the Swain matchup. Well, that is something that we are seeing once more, simply because you have an easy and you have a free laning phase.
And I love this, Rusty. You've got the late game carry from Caitlyn. It's there. You've got Swain as well, up against the Kai'Sa and the Azir. Everybody else that's just there to support that team fight, just there to make stuff happen. And both of these lineups, Ascension last game showing what they could do in late game team fights. We know Gambit for a lot of their late game team fighting in their own region, dominating the opposition. I'm a little worried it's going to be too aggressive in the early game and someone's going to get too big of a lead. We're not going to get to see those really close late game fights.
It's entirely possible. At the same time, Ascension was solid through their laning phase. They tried to extend the lanes for as long as they possibly could as well. They won skirmishes, and the one thing that you might have said is a weakness through their draft, I would say has actually been shot up. The first thing is the late game scaling that a Caitlyn can now provide. They've got a composition to empower that Caitlyn as well. The Trundle in the jungle role actually has a decent jungle matchup as well. He's not the Olaf that can get caught out of position and cause some mismatches when fights do break out.
We saw in Trezzo, even with that jungle advantage that he built up in the previous game, not able to make it amount to a whole lot. Maybe it will be a different story this time on the Trundle. See what he can bring to the table, and the opts for that early Zeke's, pairing that with the Caitlyn, definitely some team fighting potency on both lineups.
Yeah, starts to scale up just that little bit quicker when you've got the Zeke's available. When you've got the Trundle available, it's not a hard, dedicated support, but it is something that can still empower your composition. And that is the name of the game right now. It's the bottom lane. It's can they influence the bottom lane at all? That is where the snowball starts.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Gambit Esports versus Ascension Gaming. Third game of the day. Can Ascension find their first win, and can Gambit move up to 2-0 in the group?
And that Blood Moon is sick.
I get excited every time. I always try to think of custom skybox ideas. They wouldn't let me get the one where it's quick shot and officio kissing in the sky. They said that wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I tried.
Surprise Party Fiddlesticks would be a great skybox background. Imagine.
I think it would ruin a little bit of the prestige of the event, but would definitely be
a surprise party.
It'd definitely be a surprise. Now, of course, early game jungling is something that we've talked about in every one of our matches thus far, Rusty, and I think we have to hit it again here because we've talked about the jungle mismatch, how this might be in favor of Intrezo. What does Diamond Prox actually do to make sure that he can't get shut down in the early game?
I mean, the first thing you have to look at is the side of the map that they're going to be starting on. Often Trundles, and often actually just most junglers right now aren't going towards their bottom lane 2v2 to start the jungle clear, and this is something that should actually be favoring the Trundle. So when you look at Diamond Prox, what is he going to do as a response? There is this weird pathing that Diamond could potentially do, and of all people, right, it'd be Diamond that tries it, where you leash both Blue and Gromp at the same time. Because he's gone for more of a conventional start, he's just going to be behind. So what he has to do is find creative pathing to get into places, to get ganks off. Maybe go for a full clear, get the full camps, get the Raptors, the Wolves, everything down to scale up to level 4 and be that little bit stronger. Because ultimately, Intreso's actually already made the first steps. He knows.
He knows. He says, if you're going to take that greedy start, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hit you with this baseball bat.
But the problem being that Kira has control. Again, G4 still picking the Swain, something that could actually be questioned if the idea is that you want to invade early, you want to control the jungle early. Well, it's not going to be the case. Vision's all you get.
In the previous game for Ascension, we saw total control of the top side push, total control of the bottom side push, G4 being pushed in. This is very similar. The top lane now even, bottom still remaining in control of Ascension. The question is, with a different jungle pick, what can Intrezo actually do here? He was one of the players to watch, the person responsible for enabling this Ascension lineup. And last game, while he did individually well, it was a little lackluster for team contributions.
These trades are very poor right now through the middle lane. Looking towards the bottom lane as well as these junglers start to progress on their merry way down. The one thing that worked well for Diamond Prox was that he got the level 2 gank off, that he was able to control the vision, do something a little bit more cheeky, perhaps super unexpected. But he's got a Kaiser Rakan this time around. It's not quite the Xayah Rakan duo for the extra range, the excess range on that engage. And Intrezo, we mentioned the jungle matchup as to how a pillar can affect that. Well, that's actually a pretty big deal as well, especially through the skirmishes that happen. Harder to hit when you hit the late game team fights, however. Most Trundles use their pillar to start fights by picking someone out.
And you can see Trezzo is tracking the jungle path of Diamond Prox, pinging out the Krugs, letting his team know that that's probably where he's at, that that's one of the few camps that he has remaining. Does ping it a bit early, but there is Diamond indeed, so well predicted in the end. Even without the vision, still doing his best to keep track of where the Zac could be, because of course if the Trundle's not there, Zac's still a very terrifying engaged threat.
And honestly, most of these lanes are just super content if you're Ascension. Yes, you're losing mid lane, you don't have control in the mid lane, but it's not like a Zac is going to go in and punish you, right? So you're happy to just lose the lanes gracefully, try and lose the minimum as well throughout that. Ascension with a Caitlyn Morgana, just going to push forward. Constantly threatening, preventing a Kaiser from doing anything with the Rakan. And that's probably going to persist until level 6. And at that point, you've already got potentially 3 points in the Morgana Black Shield as well. So it requires a significant amount of burst to actually catch someone out of position. And you've got the teleports as well from the Maokai and the Ornn that could come across. And with the way that Rocky's been able to handle that top lane matchup, he's even gone for the biscuits to sustain himself against the Ornn. He's very well off.
Just wants to keep the pressure up here on the top side, working out well so far. Going for the aftershock as opposed to the grass, maybe a little bit less immediate sustain, but the immediate trades rather will go in his favor. Just making sure that PvP Styles can't build any items for himself either, so really just trying to punish this Ornn pick across the board.
This is a super risky attempt at a dive if they go for it, but they are.
Trezzo, where's the pillar going to
Diamond
go?
Prox
Diamond Prox is here. They're just going to back off. Chain CC does go in, but there's enough minions there to block the tower echo now, and Trezzo just going to get taken out. Beautiful counterplay by Diamond, sniffing out the gank exactly where he needs to be.
And that's not the first time we've seen this from Diamond. The sniffing out, as you mentioned, the fact that he's able to track him and be there at the correct time. We saw this in the first game from Gambit. We see it again in the second. Shows again he's got the brain.
Edward knows the binding is gone, decides to go in. Take a bit of damage back in return, but this is so quintessential Gambit once again. Their ability to just turn any kind of aggressive action that the opposition goes for in their favor. So much of what helps them set up these early game leads. And we talked about, you know, Zac, hey, losing matchup in the Trundle. Trundle was going to have an advantage. Still might be the case in terms of the 1v1, but Zac getting an early snowball, maybe helping him speed up that jungle clear, is going to make this a lot more difficult for the side of Ascension.
And it's only really Trundle tracking the Zac if they meet each other 1v1. If they find each other, it always goes towards Intresso over Diamond Prox. But the ganks are still in favor of Diamond Prox for sure, having the Zac available. Super impactful if the Elastic Slingshot connects. And if it's just given to him on a silver platter, I think you would take that.
And this is where, oh, this is a bit awkward. Diamond debating his next course of action. He's just going to...
He didn't even hit the Scryer's Orb. I don't think he wanted to reveal his position by doing that.
Has now done it by hitting that Scryer's Bloom, so potentially would have wanted to hit it, but doesn't want to risk getting caught out as G4 clearly with mid priority at this point in the game. A little bit of a different story than what we saw in the previous matchup. Say I'm much more comfortable in this matchup clearly. Is Kira willing to take the back foot here? The push does come in for G4. Of course, Kira yet to back, so a bit tough.
I think one of the most important things that we have to look at here, moving forwards for the side of Ascension, is that it's a Caitlyn composition ultimately. So we spoke towards how good they are when they hit the late game team fighting compared to what they were before. Is actually, hang on.
G4 is going to immediately get pushed back. That's the Emperor's Divide. Does have the flash available, but just trading alt cooldown for alt cooldown.
A pretty big win there for G4. Has control of the lane. There's no resources available for Kira. Doesn't have the teleport. So he actually just loses all control, all semblance of control in that middle lane. He's left to lose, and Diamond even there now to ensure that he's safe. But back to the Caitlyn point. No one fight, please, for like 20 seconds. Lloyd's the siege composition. Caitlyn's a big part of the siege composition success as well. So if you are the jungler of Ascension, even the teleport from the top lane, even G4 when he has his teleport available as well, you bring it bottom, you break the structures. That is how you open up the game for yourself. That's how you give yourself the mid-game strength. Ultimately give yourself a gold lead to win the game.
And at this point in the game, we just have to... Lodic has no wave there. Edward cannot help with that issue whatsoever. And Zac, very similar story. And if a Trundle does show up, you just don't have the engage options you really need to stop this sort of siege. For now, though, Lodic and Edward doing a good job of not letting that wave hit their tower. See how they keep that out, as it may just be a rinse and repeat for Intreza. PvP Styles running for his life. Pillar is going to come out. Ulti available for Intreza, but they're not going to pull the trigger. They don't know where Diamond Prox is, and they don't want to take the risk one more time.
Walked out full well there, Intreza, of course, knowing that there was going to be 2 control wards in the bush. Just perhaps an opportunity, but in the end, not the kill. The blue buff had also just spawned, so that could have been a place where he was expecting Diamond Prox to be. Perhaps draw the pressure, delay the blue buff even. Now they're going to go from coast to coast if you're Intresso in this instance, because your own blue buff is available, and G4 will be crying out for assistance.
Do a push here in the mid lane just to try to get the priority. Make sure they can't secure the blue, take vision control of this area. Diamond Proc's heading down, he can clear his red, or he can maybe come to contest some of the vision being placement. But Ascension not confident enough to go for any greater advantage or dragon, so it will just be the blue buff donated as predicted, Rusty, over to G4.
It does also force the passivity of the bottom lane of Lodic and Edward as well. They don't have any vision in the river. They had to place it just then as the control ward goes down, and now they know that it's safe. There's good timing, actually. If they wanted to bring Diamond Procs over, perhaps go for another counter gank. They've got 2 control wards set up for it, and you know that Intresso is trying to control vision as his primary.
Here goes Edward, the immediate engage. Immediately Camille with the follow-up, looking to land a few more shots, trying to get the passive burning down, but Lloyd is on the outskirts. Rich is still making out, and Trezzo is there for the backup. Akira is off to the side. What are they actually going to be able to do? Out comes the Orn engage. Black Shield goes in, but Rich will still get taken down. Flash forward from Lloyd, trying to back it up. Kira in the middle of everything, pulled back. Diamond Procs, a beautiful fight to kick it off. G4, though, is going to do so much damage. Now running for his life. Lodic making it out as well. So far, 2 for 1 in favor of Gambit. Ascension Gaming just going to have to back off.
And you take that trade, you walk away, and you feel really good about it as well. You get 2 kills on the Diamond. He is sitting pretty. Great engage follow-up from PvP Steos as well. And Gambit, they show once more why their team fighting is so good. They do it for the 2nd time on the international stage. They set that bottom lane up as well. They defuse the Caitlyn. They prevent and delay the major win condition that you need to see from Ascension.
Terrifying to deal with, especially that Kai'Sa leaps in, but the exhaust stops the damage from coming through. But just look at this engage, Rusty.
It's about hitting 6, Edward. Once again, we said Rakan would be a big pick. Well, it definitely still proves to be true. Lodic, no hesitation, uses the ultimate nearly immediately to get into the backline. He was super afraid of the binding, so didn't maximize his damage output. Didn't matter too much in the end when Diamond's able to get the 3-man ultimates like this and bring them all back towards his team. But at the same time, Kira has now been stuck between a rock and a hard place. Rocky in a hard place, unfortunately. Really didn't have anywhere to go.
And Rusty, already the fights are so close. You can see how many summoners are burned to try to dip and dodge all the Ornn ultimate, all the CC. Both teams clearly comfortable in those environments where it's all about the individual mechanical skill and the team coordination. That said, Gambit coming out on top. Nice to have. A little bit less than a 1K gold lead. We talked about the Kai'Sa. You know, she was supposed to struggle on the bottom side against the Caitlyn, this big lane bully, but 13 CS lead now, and just freezing the wave.
Getting to the big item spikes, most importantly also. Now you look at the items that she has, just the pickaxe and 2 daggers. But ever closer to the Guinzu's Rage Blade. And there are 3 different itemization choices that Kaisers can go towards. We know Lodic wants to get that on-hit build now. Maximize his damage out at 2 items, maybe 3. Continue to scale up and get the evolves.
Lodic trying to get him to push in. He's ready to go.
They're
Ultimate
on
is available. Want to go in. They've isolated Lloyd. Rich has split off. He's all on his lonesome. There's just no chance. Charmed up and taken down. Kill going over to Lodic in the end.
The easy pick. Clean separation from Diamond as well, landing between them. And the fact that the Elastic Slingshot connected, removed the Black Shield, removed all safety and availability from Ascension, so they just try and run away. Now they lose a kill, they lose a dragon, they start to lose even more.
Everything that they could want. 20 CS lead on the Kai'Sa, 1-0-2 once again. Edward and Diamond, kind of the crux for this team to go off. It is not PvP Steos in the top lane. Kira's been fine, but at the end of the day, it is support and jungle working together really to dictate the pace of this game.
Certainly is. Tracking is the name of the game for the most part. That's how it started off super early, but that tracking gave them a potential iron on a snowball. As now Steos.
Chain CC does start to come in. One ulti is available. He's going to knock it back, but just wants to use the dash to actually make it out. Clever from PvP Steos.
Of course, just going to get engaged on again. He's playing with fire, but he's got the banner of command, so the reason they come up there in the first place. That was a cute interaction from Steos, though, using the ultimate to headbutt himself a little bit closer to safety.
Also, just watching 2 tanks try to kill a banner minion is probably the saddest thing I've seen in a long time. It's a long, slow
I think you need
process.
a Targons if you're Intresso in this one. Maybe speed up the process and be a bit better.
Team a bit of vision too. We'll put it up there for potential build options. And interestingly, okay, Rusty.
That's me.
Longsword, I get. That could be the Tiamat that we talk about a lot when it comes to the jungle. Dagger. What is the dagger for, Rusty?
I think we let this one speak for itself. It could be anything, honestly. I don't even know if we're going to get a Tiamat at this stage.
I think it might be a Triforce.
That's extreme.
I don't know why I think that. It's just the only item I can think of that includes both a dagger and a longsword.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the wonderful journey of what is in Trezzo building, folks. We'll keep you updated.
Berserker Greaves. More news at 8.
All right. Keep you in. It's 13 minutes. We'll check in again as the items get completed, find out exactly what's happening. And of course, on the subject of interesting build pass, I think we do have to talk about Kai'Sa. You talked about 3 potential build options. What are we expecting to see from Lodic? At least what does items indicate so far?
I mean, option number 1 is the Essence Reaver build, which again scales super well into the late game, as you would expect with an Essence Reaver, maximizing the AD. Number 2 is the Death's Dance build, for when you want to dive people all of the time and still get the evolves. Very efficient way of actually getting that whilst being able to be a tank. The third one is, of course, the Guinzu's Rage Blade. You can do as you would like from this point. You want to go towards the Infinity Edge as the third item and maximize all of your evolves. You could also go towards the Nash's Tooth, if you would like to, in there as well. So it's super variable, and it's really based off what you want and what you feel. Because Kai'Sa, as a champion, if any of you at home have played her as well, like, you have to get a feeling for what works for you, and that tends to be what you stick to, even if there's a better option in items.
See what the option is here now for Lodic, if he wants to go for a few more daggers just to maximize that, get that evolve. For now, he is just going to back away, though. Supercharger does give him the stealth, so that one upgraded for now. Going to try to leap out to safety, but Rich, no hesitation there on that flash. The CC still not going to come through, and Trezzo actually taking a lot of damage back. TP's already being burned bottom side. But then comes the ultimate from the Orm. PvP Steos finding the follow-up as well. Good disengage from the Malkyle for now. With body blocked behind the top laner. Ascension managed to disengage, but that was a fight that they wanted to take, still turning against them.
Lots of early pressure, actually, from Ascension. They're trying to catch out of position Lodic on the Kai'Sa. Because they were able to just disengage, they realized, of course, how quickly that became a mistake. They did, in the end, force teleports, and you might be thinking that's a good outcome, but they actually used a teleport of their own to match it once the first one came out. So nothing doing, but nothing gained overall. You got the summoners out of Lodic, and that is something that you have to look towards, however. For the next 3 to 5 minutes, can they capitalize on the summoners being missing from the Kai'Sa?
Is an option. See what they can do. The ulti down as well. But now they're going to look for the follow-up. Immediately, Lodic does manage to step forward, trying to unleash as much as he can. Diamond Procs in the middle of everything, not going to connect though on the stretching strikes. Here comes the TP. Rich now backing off. Pillars there to disrupt. Lodic all on his lonesome. G4 ready, does manage to lock him down. Vision of Empire coming in clutch to close it out. Diamond Procs now trying to run. G4 with the flash available. We know how he likes to play. No hesitation, but can't find the snare in the end. Now backing off. G4 still not hesitating to go under this tower. No Black Shield available means he's a bit more vulnerable. Maybe look for the Demon Flare. The slow not going to connect. And Ascension just going to grab a tower in the meantime, but PvP Steos is in the mid lane trying to fire back.
Even forcing the flash from the end there out of Kira. It's a big win from Ascension. The fact that they're able to pressure, have that presence in the bottom lane does wonders for them, and getting that turret first. We spoke towards the presence this team composition wants to have, and the major point they want to execute on, well, that is step 1. Unlock the Caitlyn. Now they can move forwards, they can continue to try and pressure the rest of the map.
Unfortunately, the only person who can really take down these Kanan minions reliably when they are empowered is the Caitlyn. Smite from Intrezo along with a little bit of AD means he's also useful, but...
Oh, and they're worth so much money, and now the turret's going to take them all.
G4 continues to poke, but... I mean, Ascension doing well to get that tower first blood. Matches up the gold despite the kill advantage for Gambit. They really got to keep the momentum going. Kira, though, potentially in trouble. Does throw out the ulti. Rich. Not going to find it. Kira does manage to make it out to safety.
Rich is still impressing me more and more. I know that wasn't a big deal, but you can see the cleanliness coming out of the support of Ascension. And still G4 warming up on this swing. We're seeing a lot of good E's connecting, a lot of good claws locking them down. Edward, of course, starting this fight off, getting the charm off onto both members. The Black Shield just a little bit late, but Diamond Procs unfortunately missing the Q, not going to hit the arms and knock them all together. And then Trundle arriving. Trundle, of course, very good at counter ganking, and G4 being here once more, able to execute on that counter play super well. And then it's just about getting under the turret, knowing your limits, and pushing Gambit to theirs.
And of course, it's G4. He's playing Swain. He has a flash. It's a thing we've come to expect after game 1. If he has it, he's going to use it. He's going to be in the middle of the fight.
He's absolutely making a trend out of his use of flash right now.
Now, however, it looks like Moundrake should go down in the favor of Ascension uncontested. PvP stay out without any backup. They will be traded in the end for this Rift Herald. Just the 1-for-1. Moundrake, though, going to be very helpful as Baron comes onto the table, but the immediate gold advantage might go in the favor of Gambit if they can use this to break down some towers.
Yeah, it's going to take them a little bit of extra time, however, to lock down this Rift Herald, still with about 4,000 health remaining. Mid lane is the place that you want to be using it. And right now, because they have taken the first turret in the game already, Ascension, they're able to actually station their Caitlyn into the middle lane. So as far as actually getting this turret down with the Rift Herald is concerned, it's not an easy feat. Of course, the Static Shiv is also now available for Lloyd. He's got a lot of pressure in that 2v2 with the Morgana there to protect him. The wave's just always cleared by default. They have to bring multiple people here if you are Gambit to even utilize the Rift Herald to get that gold advantage and to get that turret to unlock the map.
And of course, in the meantime, Lodek just building up ever closer. Needs one more dagger before he gets the evolution on that supercharge. Misspoke earlier when I credited for having it, but the stealth will make it a little bit easier, especially for Dua Lloyd in those future scenarios. Dodging a single auto attack from Caitlyn. Pretty important, as it turns out.
I think the actual amount usually will be Guinzu's Rageblade, Berserker Greaves, and 3 daggers. And that is the point where you'll see that every single Kaiser has got the Evolve available. It also depends on levels, I believe, as well.
Yeah, might need a few more levels. It's quite close. One more dagger will be just shy, but maybe a dagger and a level will get her there. For now, however, is the Rift Herald summoned. Diamond Prox careful to make sure not to summon it in range of the enemies. It will be mid-tower getting broken.
Yeah, they actually catch Ascension sending their AD carry to the side lane. G4 still going to remain in mid, so it gets the turret and they get a full health charge off onto the inner and mid lane. That is a significant amount of work done here by Gambit as a decision that Ascension made.
And you can see that's what they get for trading the mountain for the Herald. It almost giving up 1k gold feels like giving away that tower. Maybe not what they wanted, but have to see. Maybe the mountain comes more valuable as we go further in the game. Maybe that will be the key for them to take a Baron. For now, however, it is Gambit who come out on top. And you can see they have control of the map right now, Rusty. Just look at how deep the vision is for Gambit into enemy territory. And Ascension just feel like they're playing so far back.
Yeah, that vision is very nice to have. It should actually spot people before they finish the rotations. It's not deep enough to see when the rotations are being started, however. That's where the risk is still going to be there for the Gambit roster. But ultimately, we just watched Ascension, you know, be at a point in the game where perhaps something could happen in their favor. Perhaps they could stem the bleeding, slow the pace of the game down, control the mid lane outer turret, which is the most important outer turret in the game, especially when you're trying to place vision for the Baron now that it's up and available. That entry becomes a little bit riskier for them. You can see where G4 currently is next to that ward. You can't feel too safe to step past that point.
And that's the thing. Kira on this control mage just has so much wave clear, and there's so few options. Banner of Command now coming in for Rocky. Maybe that can make a difference, but some of that aggressive early play we saw from Natresso, where he was willing to go under a tower, you have to be very careful doing that against an Azir, especially when there is a Rakan, there is an Ornn, there is a Zac, a lot of champions who could turn that engage against you.
And we did mention this earlier, but when you actually have a lack of pick, let's say, from Gambit that is non-committal, it's a very difficult thing to execute on. So you've got the Ornn ultimate. That's about it. But Ornn is teleporting into the fight a little bit late. So what we are looking at right now between both teams is a Zac and Rakan that want to go forwards, and a Maokai or a Swain that's trying to be a little bit less committal. It's about all in versus in and out.
There's a Zac, the pillar not going to connect. They are going to be able to pull them back. Loden's going to do so much damage in this fight because he is left untouched and uncontested. And Tressa wants to do something, but he just can't do much at all. G4 wants to get it. Lodek trying to make his way out. He's just not fast enough. Kira, though, remaining untouched, but G4 just does not take damage either. Vision of Empire not going to connect. Diamond Prox doing what he can, but the Black Shield coming in so clutch. Nice body block comes through.
G4 proving that he is still super dangerous right now, but Lodek already being dead, Lloyd already being dead. Both AD carries are gone. There isn't a lot remaining that will be able to secure objectives, secure structures, and change the pace of the game currently.
And meanwhile, Rusty, constant bloodbath fight on the top side. You know, going eye for an eye every time. Bot lane still just chilling, dude. This is... Every other game, I feel like we've had a little bit more of a dynamic top lane matchup. This time, it is the tank v tank is just
come full circle.
It's very nostalgic, you know. Whose banner minion can be more effective? Because the champions can't kill each other.
And I can't speak for you, but I hope it stays as nostalgic. Because watching it is an experience.
I mean, the tank with the Ocean Drake just wins every time, sadly.
I just think we need to add sound effects to them. Not us, but the champions. They're a bit more impactful. But anyway, we get to watch the fight that happened in the top lane. Lloyd, of course, getting caught out. It was Diamond once again having a fantastic showing at this tournament. Lodek, from this position, they had the pick. It looked okay from them, but G4 super clutch, even with the flash there. dodging out on the Azir ultimate. So Kira has no opportunities here to keep his AD carry alive. He's left to just run away. Ascension have shown that mechanically throughout this game, they are still up there.
Definitely keeping up, going toe-to-toe, punishing Lodek, who, you know, playing a more aggressive carry, doesn't really get to sit and stay back, and definitely not coming out on top in that exchange.
I've worked it out, because we're back to this lane.
Yeah.
They should both have pool party skins.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, Pajama Maokai.
Doesn't have sound effects, though. That's cool.
I mean, his ult is cats.
That's
Those
true.
cats, Rusty.
Yeah. The meowing.
Oh, I love that skin. Always use that skin if you're a pro player and you're coming up. I will always support that skin.
That is a matter of perspective. We're at a point in the game now, Dracos, where we're back to top lane, so I was...
See,
Baron is a place that we should be looking at.
Baron, very important. Teleport's also important. I wanted to troll you and just go back to top lane, but we can stop. Now, let's look at item spikes across the champions, because I think it's important to note who actually has an edge in the team fighting. We know Kira is going to scale better. He's on 2 items now. Is this enough of a break point for the
something
Azir?
happened.
PvP Styles is out of mana, though.
Oh. There's teleport.
TP now coming in.
Out of mana.
Can they interrupt the Maokai TP? No, he still manages to make it in. This might just be the pick that they need. Edward trying to find the disengage. Lodek trying to make his way out, but he will get locked up and taken down. 80 carry removed. Ascension with control on the top side.
And oddly enough, you take that if you're Edward, because only your 80 carry goes down, but it feels like deja vu. The 80 carries are the only thing that needs to die. Kira on the opposite side, though, he'll get himself the mid lane inner turret, but that gives Ascension what they need. That gives them a window to push forwards. Look to the Baron.
You want a tangible example. Jungler versus jungler, who can actually get the smite, but it's Lloyd who is the priority of Diamond Prox, pulling them in, trying to start the team fight on his terms. Now pulling back, Lloyd uncontested on the backside. PvP Styles leaves him in the middle of everything, but no one is there to back him up. G4, meanwhile, in the middle of 3 members, does get the ulti off, the flash forward, immediately they're pulling back. Action on 2 sides, a completely split fight, but PvP Styles is isolated. He's trapped, and he is taken down. Advantage to Ascension.
And there are tanks absolutely everywhere, but G4 is a tank that can also take you down. He's going to have to go back to base, however, does not have mana, so the Baron is just going to continue to stand. They're going to have to reset one more time. That actually gives Gambit an avenue to control the vision around here. But still, Ascension are fighting forwards. They're pushing up more and more. And if they continue to get these picks, things actually start to shift in their favor very quickly.
I mean, exactly what they want. 2K gold lead, though, coming in for Gambit. 3 towers to 1, definitely still in control, but need to find more picks, and still so close. I mean, Ascension playing on the edge there. That TP was so close to being canceled. You could see the leap in coming in from PvP Styles. He wanted to interrupt it.
We're at a point now, though, with big item spikes. Once again, when you look towards Lloyd on the Caitlyn, he'd been sitting at components for an Infinity Edge for an extended period of time, but now he's got it and a Zeal. So getting those extra kills, getting those extra picks, and that influx of gold is something that works wonders for them. It's a gold deficit, like you mentioned, but that deficit feels far less impactful right now. Especially if you are Ascension, you may start looking once again.
See what they can do with it. If they can find a fight on their terms. Diamond Prox forced out of the pit for now. Has the blast cone to get back in if he wants to contest. Binding's hitting home for Rich.
Rich is having a fantastic series for himself. Game 1 and Game 2. Right now he's gone for the Shirelia's Reverie, as is Morgana. Didn't choose to go for the Zhonya's approach. Of course, this is a very good item now to pick up as Morgana in the support role. AP and the Talisman.
Yeah, happy to have the movement speed. Will really empower, especially G4, the aggressive flash user we know him to be. May not always have to use it if you can go extra fast.
It is risky when you use Black Shield on your AD carry, however.
Bottom side, though. Zach ready to collapse here. Looks like it may be the 2v1. 2 tanks, though, going up against the Swain. Will it end? Be what they want. Waiting for the ulti to expire. G4 is on the run. The rest of the team of Ascension going. He might just be able to take down a few more members. Now the ulti is gone. The healing is gone. G4 has the flash. May have to use it defensively. I think the first time of the day. The rest of the team not actually starting the Baron, though. So this is pretty solid from Gambit. They get the ulti. They get the flash. Until those are up, this is a really good position to be in. G4 now with the fancy feet trying to walk his way out of this one. Artax does manage to go over the wall, but it's... They don't have damage, but they have so much engage, Rusty.
God, they
I feel
have
like this is
persistent.
tough. Gonna keep it going. Will pull him back. Is gonna take him down in the end. The slowest fight of all time.
And Ascension on the opposite side are trying to get things done. They're trying to push forwards, but they've been completely held at bay. And the rest of the Gambit roster, 3 people in the end up at bottom lane trying to take down G4. in the slowest, most gruesome, painful death that you've ever watched in League of Legends, because it took a minute to actually lock him down. They get it, there is no trade, and then they get an objective for it. So in the end, it is a good play from Gambit.
A lot of Oceans today on the MSI playing stage. Here's Champion Ocean, Triple Ocean in the last game, Double Ocean this time around, and a little bit more regen for these tanky members. Now, check-in. I said we get it at 18 minutes. It's 28 minutes. Trundle build.
It is the Trinity Force.
There's no other item I can put the dagger and longsword. So Entrezo wants to do damage. Kira might not be ready for how much damage this Trundle can do, but his soldiers are ready to push him away.
Rich has
and
got
that's
the
a
Shurelya's.
speedy Rich. Kira, goodbye. Ascension now moving in. They managed to take out the mid laner. Pick after pick, single champions being traded on either side, but maybe this is finally the chance for Ascension to start a fight on their terms.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for them. They're not going to hit the Baron straight away, however. They want to continue to utilize the Morgana, utilize the Swain and the Trundle Pillar to find those picks. Remember, this Trundle isn't super tanky. It is a Trinity Force in the end.
At the mountain, Diamond Prox channeling up, ready to go in, leaps immediately onto the back line. G4 with the ult, he does manage to pull in, but Lloyd is left all on his lonesome. Lodek in the middle of everything, wants to do a little bit more damage, but G4 is zoning as best he can. Lloyd is still alive, still free hitting. He's going to look to take down PvP stay out. One more, Diamond Prox all in on the mid laner. Finally, G4 does manage to go down. Diamond Prox will get procced into the passive. Lodek now running for his life. Edward doing what he can to protect it, but at the end of the day, Ascension coming out clutch in the fight.
These fights are just so messy, though. There is no one really winning. We kill people, we disengage, we reset, we go again. And that is what is going to be the case one more time. Lloyd was still free hitting. He's definitely ramping up on this Caitlyn to be very powerful. At the same time, it just takes too long to kill these tanks. Lodek's doing damage. He's absolutely doing damage, but he's gone for the Death Stance third, which is a good choice to not die, but not to kill them.
Rusty.
A weird game.
I love it. This game and the game before it, man, these close back and forth fights, I love the way Ascension play. Constantly on the edge, willing to take these risks, willing to start these fights. And Gambit on the opposite side just don't hesitate to go toe-to-toe.
Oh, they're more than happy to go for it. Don't get me wrong, when I say it's a weird game, I do not mean it's a bad game.
Oh no, I agree that the weird is probably fair. I did watch a Zac and a Ornn and eventually a Rakan chase a Swain for, I think, a minute of game time. So I understand. For sure, definitely not standard.
That's the word we'll go for.
But the picks everywhere on the map, you know, constantly starting these fights off as 4v4s.
A lot of this is about the Ornn engage as well. It's the most impactful part here for Gambit. The Black Shield only hits one member. It gives entry as well for Zac for all of the follow-up magic damage that he actually has for himself to lock people down and to use that crowd control. That gets Lodek into the back line very successfully, but at the same time, Lloyd has been going insane in these fights as well, kiting super nicely. And Treso, with the Trinity Force, does do damage. And that damage does contribute quite heavily to Diamond Prox dying there as well.
And at the end of the day, when you think about it, 2-for-2 fight overall, another pick onto Kira potentially. Flat forward the pillar, Kira getting pulled back, slowly ticking from the Trundle ultimate.
Is that a flash from him?
Is he going to go down?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, the snipe.
Oh.
You can't. Oh. All right, airstrike averted.
Closer than it needed to
No
be,
Faker cosplay today. No need to die to that. But now the Baron has been started. Ascension with their eyes on the prize. 31 minutes into the game. No man advantage, but Kira quite low. Once again, Ornn starting the fight off. That cooldown has been burned. No one is there to follow up. Trundle in the middle of everything has used his ulti as well, so Ornn going to get taken down quite quickly. Kaisa, will she get locked down? The CC is there and burned through. Lloyd strong enough now to bring it home. Kira with the low health bar. Can he get any more? Lloyd not going to hesitate. He flashed in one more time. This time he's going to get it. No mistakes, no remorse, not giving up after last game when it turned against him for flashing forward. He will once again come in clutch for this lineup.
And fantastic stuff from Lloyd. They're still going forwards here, Ascension, looking for kills, but those two members are really hard to take down. It's about the push. They'll get themselves the turret, and they may even go back to the Baron after the successful fight. They've got plenty of time.
The double Oceans, though. PvP Steos is going to be full health. He's ready to disrupt this. Ultimate, though, back up for the Trundle. He's ready to steal all those stats away. Lloyd going to heal up off the Honey Fruit. A nice spawn to have, but doesn't seem like either team can actually get the Baron.
There's just no lifesteal from the Caitlyn, so hitting the Baron is just something that's going to hurt them quite a lot. Steos may just be able to walk in here.
Get taken out, is interrupting his attempt to leave. They are just going to cut through the tank, are going to take him down, but it has stalled the Baron for now. Kaisa is on the way. They have to be careful. They have to respect it.
The kill's big. The kill is very big for stopping the Baron, like you mentioned. At the same time, it was a nice Trundle pillar that enabled that pick in the first place, preventing him from dashing to safety successfully. Yawn does go down. Not a lot of resistances on him right now. Of course, wanting to scale up for his next item. That'll be a significantly higher amount of resistance against the Caitlyn. But we are at a point in this game, 32 odd minutes in, where the Caitlyn's items are large. Can carry pretty much by himself, and that's exactly what Ascension are looking towards for late game.
TP now coming in. Caitlyn using the ulti early, trying to get these carries away from the fight. Kai'Sa ready to go in a moment's notice. Diamond, can he take this one away? They're waiting. They've stopped focusing the Baron. They're just looking for the kills instead. Diamond Procs in the middle of everything. G4 wants to go in. Kira trying to make his way out, but he gets taken down. Maybe too little, too late. Lodic now trying to throw out the DPS. Lloyd on the backside. Rich still alive, still protecting his 80 carry, and Rocky just about unkillable on the front line. Edward gets taken down. Ascension winning yet another fight. The Baron not in their sights quite yet. Maybe Lodic can turn it here. Is he going to get it? He has so much healing. He gets a double. Kai'Sa is out of control in this game. Rocky cannot kill him. The Death Dance is too strong. Lodic with the moves, making it look easy in the end, playing on the edge of his seat, and Rocky now just has to run for his life. Don't think he's going to make it out of this one. I cannot believe it, Gambit. The fight turns in their favor.
And Lodic, the rookie of the team as well, coming into this game. Super clutch, the Death Dance, the healing of the Kai'Sa was honestly just insane. Back to the Baron now. The dance continues around the purple worm. But this time around, more people dead from Ascension than you would like.
G4 is coming in. He's ready. I don't think he does enough damage to heal to the lifesteal of Lodic. We're going to have to find out.
The tango continues, though.
4K health and getting lower. In comes the Trundle. They don't have a smite. If they keep doing this, Diamond Procs is on the way.
They can't continue to do this with a smite there.
If they get in, and Trezzo a little too desperate though, they're just baiting him into the fight. They pulled in both members. This could be disaster for the side of Ascension. Yes, it turns against them. Baron will reset, but now it is Gambit. 4 members strong, the jungler dead on the opposite side. Finally, Rusty, we will see a Baron go down. Gambit able to secure it in the end.
It took a very long time, but the battle dance is won in the end by the Gambit roster. They play and they prove that they are too strong, just as the individuals. It came down to an outplay as the only reason that they're able to secure the Baron in the end. So one by one, everyone funneled into the river. They took a shot at the title, but Gambit come out with the title.
You just don't 1v1 a Kai'Sa. Space Bane cannot be stopped, Rusty. You do not go in for the 1v1s against a champion like that. So much healing.
Apparently you don't 1v3 the Space Bane either. She's way too strong. It's the Death Dance, man.
It's so gross.
Credit to the itemization where it's due as well for him. That could have been an Infinity Edge, could have been a Last Whisper if he wanted to kill people, but he acknowledged the state of the game, what he needed to purchase, and made it work.
And now we have to take a look at that last exchange brought to you by Acer Predator.
Big fight actually here with Diamond Procs wanting to go forwards at the start. G4 has been the most prolific member, but we're at a point in the game where he does start to get outscaled, and with Kira caught, and with a Maokai on top of you, there is no such thing as escape for Lodic, using the ult aggressively, wanting to push them away. But from this point, you know you're stuck. Lodic's just going to do as much damage as he possibly can, kite for as long as he can, has acknowledged that the only option I have right now is to go forwards and try and take them all out.
It's so much damage, Rusty.
The healing is insane. The Ornn ultimate also comes in at the correct moment to keep him going. But having the rockets with Death Dance is just so much healing.
And remember, this is not 8-9. Those are single target, Rusty. You press Q in a wave, you push that Acathian Rain when it's upgraded, you just heal so much.
And the finer details are things that you'll notice the next time if you want to watch that back again. When he is locked down by Maokai, uses the W, which is an animation that then gets cancelled by being crowd controlled. That does damage to Lloyd. That actually helps to getting the kill. Mastery of the champion.
And now you can see things are starting to fall apart. And Trezzo is so squishy here until he uses the ulti. G4 already forced to use the Hourglass. Rocky in the middle of the team, but Lodic untouched. Kira untouched. The carries able to free hit onto the back line. G4 wants to turn it, but Lodic just doesn't care. Lloyd is next on the menu. This man is a ruthless predator. He will not stop in the face of Ascension. Looking to bring it home in the end. And Trezzo just going to have to walk out of his own base. Cannot do anything to stop it. A beautiful performance by Gambit. A beautiful performance by Lodic will net them their second win.
Once again, it wasn't the cleanest of games, but you wouldn't have it any other way. It comes down to those individual shows. And Lodic is the man that does it when it mattered most.
Absolute insanity, Rusty. Kai'Sa is disgusting. Lodic is a fantastic player, but mean, you could just see.
You can do the maths as well, right?
I mean, you watch that game and you see Kira and you see they're clearly tunneled on the Azir. And I feel like a little bit was like last game, Azir was the problem. And then when we rewatched that fight, I thought it was Kira doing all that damage, but no. Nope. Oh no, sir. All of the procs, all of the percentage damage, the Rage Blade fully stacked.
That's the thing, right? In a game with 1 million tanks available, we actually saw it in the LCK finals as well. We know how much damage a Kaiser can do in a 4-tank style composition. A team that has the Kaiser tends to be the one that wins that game. With all the percentage damage that is available. Caitlyn's strong. Caitlyn can control the lanes, can cause siege compositions, give gold advantages, but it never really cements yourself to victory. The Kaiser still exists and scales, gets the items, and does what we saw.
And the thing that always holds Caitlyn back from being that late game carry, right, comparable to the Jinx or the Tristana, is the lack of the attack speed steroid, right? And Kai'Sa, with that supercharger, definitely not short on attack speed steroids or stealths.
Or mobility.
Or mobility. And you see the fights that were going well when they got to start on their terms, Ascension. But the second the Gambit gets the engage that they want, where the Zac is leaping in, where the Ornn gets to start the fight off, suddenly, the second Caitlyn is hit by any CC, she plays scared. For the rest of the fight, she can't do anything.
And there was a lot of CC in the first place, right? Zac going forwards, the Ornn ultimate as well. It's all at such a long range that there was no safe place for the Caitlyn to ever be. She was just constantly under threat, under siege, had to play out of her mind to even keep them close in that game when a front-to-back team fight happens.
And I think if you're looking, in general, Kai'Sa might want to be banned away. I think there may be some counterplay of shutting her down in the early game. But also, Rakan has been such a strong pick today. And we saw it taken away now from Rich.
Yeah.
I think still a fantastic Morgana player. You're right. You were good to give him credit. But you could see that the impact is just not the same when you can't completely dictate when fights start and when you get out with a champion like Rakan.
I think we just overall are starting to see the unsung heroes of these rosters actually step up and be super huge as well here. The supports in particular, Edward, Rich, maybe didn't win this game, but still look super clean, and credit where it's due for them.
Yeah, and after 3 games, let's take a look at where the teams are standing currently, how they're stacking up. 2-0 record for Gambit. And Rainbow 7 looking to play in their next game to keep up with there. What's the big surprise here, Rusty, if any?
I mean, Ascension being 0-2 is the biggest surprise of all, you would have to imagine. Of course, it's only been 3 games today. There's still an opportunity for redemption. That's a double round robin as well, so they can well and truly come back. But the reason that it's the biggest surprise to me so far is they haven't looked bad. There's been moments where they've been exploited, but yeah, they've looked super competitive. They've shown that they can keep up with these teams that have actually beaten them.
Yeah, true. And I mean, if right now, if your name is Raz, you must be really sad because your predictions are
pretty upsetting.
Totally wrong.
Way off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, coming up next is the Battle of Latin America between Rainbow 7 and Chaos Latin Gamers. And Seiya outlined how important a victory here is for the fans.